Hello, we are looking at, I've decided to go down memory lane a bit and have a look at my Blood Bowl teams. Now, last time I played, you can see, was 2009, and my team were the Barrow Banshees for Blood Bowl Season 5. This was with Babel, Brisbane Area Blood Bowl League, I think is how it was pronounced. So Babel, I think, was the name, but yeah. So we were using, I think at the time, and I would still prefer to use, as the living rule book that they were running. I honestly can't afford Games Workshop's new version of Blood Bowl. It, quite frankly, I think has been marketed specifically to get the most amount of money out of people, where with the original Blood Bowl everything was more or less contained without needing to continuously buy additional add-ons to access other aspects of the game. But yeah, so anyway, this is what we had, and I was very happy with it. So my Banning Banshees, they had the, you can see I really did like to play Undead. So yeah, so anyway, that was the teams. I've played a few teams. That was that. Must have been spreadsheets for anything. So yeah, so this was the rule book that we used. And what was this? Living Rule Book 5, I think. Yeah, this is the last version that I have of the game. And I'm actually looking at getting back in and playing this. I've found on my Steam account that I've got Blood Bowl, Legendary and Chaos. So I've actually started to play that again and have found that so much fun that, look, I really have to get back and start playing the game again. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to try and get down to school descriptions and everything with their inducements. Right, teams. Here we go, the teams. And what I will start with is that I'm going to have a look at my Undead teams. So let's move some things over here a bit. So all my teams for Blood Bowl are painted. It is one of the very few games that I've got where I absolutely went nutters and painted everything that I had. So with the Undead, I have my 2 mummies that you start. So they are, obviously positions 1 and 2. I notice that some people like to randomise where their player starts are, because rather than lumping, I guess, your characters of specific things close together, people seem to think that it was more likely you'd lose certain players over others, but I really haven't found that to be the case myself. But each to their own. So there we go, 2 of the mummies. Then, so the mummies were good. They had Mighty Blow and Regeneration. So obviously regeneration was one of the things that I really liked about the Undead, was that I wanted longevity with my teams, even if we weren't particularly good. So we had a movement of 3. We had strength of 5, which was really good, because in most cases we're rolling somewhere 2 to 3 block dice. Agility 1. Okay, so I'm not doing very well, but if you can earn the experience, you can get the skill Break Tackle, which helps them nicely. And they got a nice armor value of 9. So they can only normally access the strength table for skills, and if they get a double, they can obviously look at general, agility and passing. Although obviously a passing mummy with an agility of 1, yeah, I don't know if that would be something that you'd really want. So they cost 120. So if I go back and have a look at, let's see if I've got it here, the So this is what they cost under the 5th edition of the Living Rulebook. In the first one, Undead only cost 100,000, so they've gone up 20. So they've assumed that for some reason, with costing, that mummies were too cheap at 100,000. They've upped it to 120 under Living Rulebook 5. So their stats remain the same, as does their skills. Their rerolls are still 70,000 gold pieces compared to Living Rulebook 5. So that is fine. Interesting though, a little more expensive. The whites. So 2 whites. So at least 2 different poses, which is good. So as you can see, I've used different colour bases to differentiate my models when they're out on the table, because sometimes with the way that I find, particularly with the undead, everything's so dark, and that when I didn't have them on different bases, different coloured bases, some people use rings. Bases for me just means that for me it's easier to pick out where are my whites, where are my mummies, because as you will find as we continue to go along, some of them, so if you look at the skeletons could possibly be mistaken at times as to who you want to think about. Let's have a look. So the whites remained the same. They were still 90,000. Their movement of 6 was really nice. Strength 3, agility 3, armor value 8, and block and regeneration. Block standard go-to for, I guess, the blitzer type character. So they had access to general and strength, and then if they rolled a double they could get agility and passing. Agility was good because that would allow them to have dodge, which does help, particularly for that sort of role that they've got. So those are the 2 whites that I have there. Then you'll find that in most of my teams that I build, I try to get the maximum number of models for all the representations or possible permutations. In some cases I do it, sometimes I don't, because I'm thinking, well, there's no way I'm going to field 16 skeletons or 16 zombies all on their own in a team, although that would be a bit of an amusing concept. So the ghouls are the next one. So I can have up to 4 of them. So the ghouls themselves, there are only two styles of figures for the ghouls. So again, different base colour to make them pop out on the game board. So yeah, that are the ghouls, and these, I guess, are your mortal and very brittle team members that you don't really want to lose, because the ghouls, they're 70,000 each. They've got a movement of 7, so they're the fastest that you've got in your team. Strength and agility both 3, and armor value is 7. So they're fairly crunchy in some respects. They do at least have dodge, no block. So considering that when you get your first normal, you've got general and agility, you can obviously give them block if you want once they get their first skill. I tend to give them sure hands due to the fact that my ability to pick up and roll dice and get the skills I want. Oh, the number of times I've failed picking up a ball is quite hilarious. So they're the ghouls, and they remain at 70,000 apiece between the issues, between obviously the first release of, I believe this is 2nd edition. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly sure that's 2nd edition, because the 1st edition... No, sorry, it's 3rd edition, because the 2nd edition had the polystyrene boards in them. So yeah, that was interesting. So the ghouls are good, I try to get as many ghouls as I possibly can in my team, and I rotate them around so that all of them have a chance to increase rather than always playing with the same ghoul options, because they do tend to die. So don't get attached to anything. So the next thing then is zombies. Why would I take zombies? Only for the fact that their armor value is 8. They move at 4. They are slow compared to so many other teams. Although, sorry, I shouldn't complain really too much. The mummies only move 3. But zombies, you know, I've got all my zombies. So I've got quite a few because I've got them in. They also get used in my necromantic team. I'd have to go through and see what other, because zombies do appear in others, but there are essentially a massive amount of there's only 2 different ones with the metals. Now these are all metals. These, I just like my metals, you know. I really only got into collecting these figures with the 3rd edition, so I don't have very many of the original metal Blood Bowl teams, which I do regret, but again at the time I was focused in other areas. So I've got 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. So I've got 8 zombies there, and they are, I can have a total of 16. But to be honest, again, you know, if your more elite units will soak up more of your, you know, the 16 members you can have in your team. So you really don't want to, I guess, you know, unless you're playing something really, really fun and just want to play, you know, 16 zombies on the field or 16 skellies. So that then is the zombies, and the last ones are the skeletons. And the only thing that they've done here with the skeletons is that they have given them, so I can try and get these all sorted, make them look like I know what I'm doing. So everything's, obviously all bases are numbered. So these are standard. I have not used a different paint scheme to differentiate between zombies and skeletons because they can be fairly well distinguished. It's really only the elite units that are of more interest for me. But what they have done is that from the first version of the 3rd edition rules is they've now given skeletons thick skull, but they've increased their cost to 40. So they used to be 30, and the zombies used to be 30, but they're now 40. So obviously from the previous edition of Living Rulebook, which was 4, they've obviously made some more changes. So obviously that 40 must have changed in one of the earlier editions, because once again they've only got regeneration and nothing really exciting. So that is the skeletons. And again, there's a few more of the oh no, that's sorry. I was about to say I've got more, but I don't. I've only got 8 of the skeletons as well, and they do duty in some of the other undead style teams. Now the star player that you could get for the other games is obviously Luther. Luther was the character. I've actually got 2 of them because I used these I think in a, oh no, I don't use them in my vampire team. I've got vampires specifically for this. So I've got 2 of Luther, which I'm not too sure why. Again, I've not played the game since 2009, so it does take a bit of remembering. But anyway, there you go. That is my undead team, which to be honest is one of my favourite teams that I like to play. I'm going to do a few videos of all the teams that I've got in a little more detail if I can. So let's actually, I'll see if I can do this without making too many issues. So let's see if I can get a closer. Got things going everywhere. Yeah, that would be right. Hang on. Right, I've actually got a little bit of light this time. So you can see, oh dear, now this is going to give me the pips now. So I'm having to use a phone, and it doesn't always do the best when it comes to picking up the details, so I do apologise. So there's my zombies, there's the mummies, the whites, the ghouls, and the vampires. And I still can't get these into focus properly, can I, for some reason? Why is it? No, it doesn't want to play today. Anyway, there you go, everybody. That is my undead team for Blood Bowl. So till next time, signing off, the Honourable John.